And we are live. Hey, everybody, I'm Deplorable Bobby. I want to welcome you here, Linda Horner, Philip Turner, Linda Carter, Rooster Cogburn, Rob Call. Thank you guys for being here so soon. Appreciate it. Tonight, we're going to do another panel with some really great friends, Fight and Defend, who has joined me lately on this endeavor to get you the truth out during all this shutdown and fake COVID stuff. But tonight we have Sam Reports with us. See, I said the right word, Sam. But anyway, Sam Reports is with us tonight, and as always, she's fantastic. She's a deep diver, just like John, and we're going to have a good show. We got a lot of topics, and I'm not going to have a lot of pleasantries tonight. Hey, at the end of the video, I'll get some shout outs to some smaller channels like ourselves. And then we'll end the video whenever that is. We're not on a time frame. I know you can't stay long, Sam. I know that you have reasons that you have to leave shortly, but stay as long as you can, I would hope. And I like to start with 10 people, but we've already got 9, so let's just go ahead and get started with it. I'll be honest with you, people. Sam's got some really good stuff, so I just want to give her a topic, and I want her to take off on this, and then we're going to all join in. And be sure in the chat, jump in, make your opinions known, and we'll try to answer any questions or reply to any of your comments. But tonight, Sam's going to talk about something right off the bat, I hope, and that's going to be our food supply and our water supply. Sam, are you okay with starting with that?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Well, good evening, Bobby and John, and Chatter, since I can't see you.
Well, we've got 10 in here now, so we're good to go.
Well, first of all, foremost, I chose not to say anything. However, another YouTuber, a wonderful woman, a strong patriot, she loves people. She loves Jesus. She loves to be able to get out good quality information too. And in the early morning hours of today, I had dropped from the panel and went into the chat and was just sitting there. And she chose to disclose to her chatters, and therefore I'm going to follow that up to disclose it to you, and I have some other commentary. But, we know that there is a war going on, unseen war, whether you want to postulate a flu, whether you want to, whatever. The real battle, we all know, is about good and evil.
Amen.
It's about the agenda 21, 25, 30, 50, whatever, and all that against the people who are saying enough's enough and we're not going to tolerate this anymore. So we've been watching a lot of things, and I'm just going to dovetail on this since I said that, Bobby.
But sure. Go ahead.
Don't trust everything you see. There's a video out there with this woman supposed to have been arrested and actually booked for being in a park. Well, there are lots of other people in that park named Bob. She is a crisis actor, in my opinion. We pulled that apart. Don't trust everything you see, folks. And so
I saw that
history. So don't get all up in arm on everything. Remember, discernment is key now on everything you see, everything you read, everything you hear. And as you know, I always say it, and I mean it from my totality of my being. Do your own research on anything. Anybody may bring you. You are your best source of information and fact checking. And it's even more essential now as we continue down this pike.
Amen.
That being said, through some documents, the channel that I'm referring to, and I'm telling you people, if you get a chance, at least go over and lurk, check it out.
Go ahead, shout her out.
Her name is Awake Up, AWAKE -UP exclamation point, Awake Up. And she decided to disclose to her chatters and the panel in the wee hours that I think some of you remember my mentioning that a few weeks back, there was a chicken farm where there was a massive fire. Well, a minimum of about approximately 450,000 chickens, and they were laying eggs, so was lost. You know now that Smithfield Foods sold its companies to China.
Yes.
So I will never purchase another product from them as long as, and if that means I have to eat grass, I will do it.
It's better to smoke it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you Bob, on that. No, I don't smoke anymore. I'm not at all. But and then apparently Away came through a couple more articles, very recent, folks, from different publications. One is apparently the pork. You've heard about Tyson with their pork. Now,
Yep.
I think Tyson, Smithfield are all about this New World Order. And so they are killing off major herds of pork.
Yes.
So if you haven't heard it, you need to know about it. So
major
that's
herds of pork, chickens, eggs, and milk.
right. But the thing is that in addition to that fire I reported on that chicken farm, apparently a major grower of chickens just slaughtered 2 million chickens. Remember the New World Order, no meat. And apparently the governor in Idaho decided to call in the National Guard because of to protect their beef processing plant. So be aware that they're all out to, annihilate 95% of the population. So if you haven't gotten your gardens going, please do it ASAP. I know even in the Northeast, the weather has been messing around and it's still too cold to plant. And they've used the weather modification at full hilt,
Sure.
swamping our major swamplands, as you know, farmlands, Bobby and John, and they're doing it in the Northeast to, they're using it as a weapon, people. Irregardless, it's a weapon and they're using it and they plan on making sure we don't survive this. And I say bull crap, because not only am I going to survive it, but a lot of us are. So please keep that in mind. And I know you've heard stories about the milk farm in Florida where they were forced to dump their milk. But additionally to that, apparently in the Washington Examiner, there was an article, I think it was yesterday, that apparently our government was informed weeks ago, and they finally got a reply back, that the gases they need to make it's CO2 and C2O, all of that. And I'm not a scientist, so forgive me, folks.
C2O and carbon dioxide, yeah.
Thank you. They don't have enough of it. And it was in Washington State, and they were informing the feds because they were going to have, at that time, with just talking to the feds early on, to cut their bottled waters and stuff 30%. Well, apparently the feds got back in touch with them, and nationwide they're going to cut water 50%.
Yes.
They're attacking the food supply. They're attacking the water supply. We know that they're dumping chemicals from the air. They're attacking our oceans, our seafood supply with the bunker fuels. Those are facts. But you need to be aware of it, because you and those you love and value, family and friends, need to know to step up, get prepared now, because we're going to run into some real major crises because of what they're doing, even with the shortened growing season and with the, being in a solar minimum. And so our government is completely aware of this. We can't say or do anything to them. You know how I feel. It's treason from the top down. Whatever side you want, a political party, it's irrelevant to me. But to postulate a flu, to close down a country that are putting parents out of work, they can't feed their children, they can't pay their car notes, they can't pay their mortgages or rent, so they won't have shelter. It is crimes against humanity, therefore treason, besides other things I won't need to go into right now. That all being said, that's going to have to be, I heard that apparently in Idaho, showed up a group of, how can I say this, a militia Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. And it's a Republic militia.
The good
So
people.
I don't. Some of that you're going to have to keep your ears open and your eyes peeled out, heads on a swivel at all time. In the meantime, get your ducks in a row, folks, because this is going to be a long haul. Even if the commander-in-chief is no longer commander-in-chief, he still, to me, in my opinion, not reflecting on those on the panel, you in chat, he's still a commander-in-chief in crimes against humanity, because they're allowing abortions. They could have stamped that out. They are well aware of
Amen.
the shortages coming. They're doing nothing about it. They're allowing it. So irregardless of who's a white hat, who's a proverbial black hat, who's a gray hat, is irrelevant. They are out to kill us, or if not, they're stepping on us to take out others. That is their agenda, and that is not acceptable to me. And I am not going to be silent. I won't do it, Bobby and John. You know me. I cannot do it. I won't do it, because the only being that ranks high in my book is Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Humans are fallible. It's just who we are. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means we're fallible. But when you go to target other individuals on the backs of children and their parents, then I've got a problem with you, and I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Linda Horner said it right. She said, "Well stated, Sam. Well stated."
Thanks, Linda.
And, it's good, but the pressure cooker, like Steve Bevan said, the pressure cooker is lit, and there's only so much water in that thing to produce steam before it blows the lid. And I'm looking at it like this, Sam, is they're not just messing with our food supply and our water supply. They're messing with our money. They're messing with our livelihood. They're messing with everything that makes America America. Truly. People are being restricted in their movements. And they don't want to call martial law. Well, he needs to go ahead and call martial law, do whatever he's going to do and get it over with. Let's open this country back up. But as you were saying, I think when they do, we're going to have a new name. We're going to have a new currency. We're going to have a new way of life. But I don't know if it's going to be for the better or for the worse. I really don't know how this is going to work, but we are not America now, and we will never be America again as we once were coming out of this. They're already talking about it's going to be a great summer because all the COVID viruses are going to be gone because of the heat. But come fall, look for the second phase, and it's going to be even worse. Give me a break.
Bobby, we know that it's a flu. We get it every season. Yes, America helped make it, folks. I'm sorry to break it to you. Whether, I know Iran, China, and Russia are now propagating in their countries that it's American made. It is to a greater or lesser degree. It doesn't wash their hands of their contributions to create this disease. Flu is real. We know it. Unfortunately, people die from it and other diseases, and my heart goes out to them. But you don't step on the back of hungry children and parents being able to feed those children because of whatever. And that's where I call in the treason from the high levels all the way through. That being said, Bobby, I've talked about this and I've thought a lot about it. Our Constitution, that's what we're going to get back to, folks, at one point or another, or we're going to end up in a communist country. One of the two is going to happen. It's going to be severely one way or the other way, but it's never going to be what used to be. So get that thought out of your mind. It may be better than it was, or it's going to be a hell of a lot worse, but there isn't going to be what it was. That being said, additionally, police is a criminalized organization. Now, I'm not saying all police are bad. Our Constitution talks about sheriffs, and it talks about well-organized militia. The police department, excuse me, when they were created, was to help out in a pinch. And then the unions got involved, and this happened and that happened. The police department is a criminal firearm, and that's why they can be militarized or whatever, John. As you well know, it is a criminal enterprise. We know the hoax about the war on drugs. We know the hoax about all the wars they've started to buffer their coffers and gain power and control. But remember, the United States Constitution doesn't take a backseat even during a martial law. That's a crock of crap. And what we have now does not impede the United States Constitution. That is the rule of the land under all circumstances. So don't buy the lies, don't buy the propagation at all. The United States Constitution, and it may go all the way back to, what is it, 1876 bombing? And forgive me if I don't have that exact date, but it's going to go all the way back, or it's not going to be there ever again. So that's pivotal. We're on right now, guys. You know that. I'm not telling you what you don't know.
Well, I will say this, Sam. If it's going to go on the good side of things, it's not going to be through the ballot box.
Right. Very true, because the thing is that a lot of people, and I think, I know I fell into it too, and I voted for Trump. I have no shame about saying that. Absolutely.
Me too.
But every president has been pre-selected, pre-chosen, and put in power. And that, I believe, is also for governors, because I know the one that's sitting in my state is installed, and you've heard me say the term.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about the local as much. I'll give it a little gray area. You make your decision.
They're all corrupt.
And for governors, absolutely. And none of our voting is secured. It's not going to be secured. There couldn't be enough time to secure it. We've watched all the shenanigans, whether what we saw in Broward County last year, whether we know about the ballot harvesting, whether we know about mail-in ballots, which Pelosi's saying that she's going to force it in this new $500 billion crap hole that they signed today or are willing to sign. I say enough. I don't give a crap about Pelosi. I don't give a crap about most of them. What I care about is you and my family and my friends. That is who I care about. And if the crap's going to hit the fan, I'm going to make sure that what I do is going to count against those who committed treason. And I don't care, but that's the way I feel about it.
That's my girl.
Well, the truth of the matter is, Sam, the three of us sitting on this panel right here tonight, we're all in agreement. None of us expect to live through this.
Well, I'm not about going out for violence. Absolutely not. That God's law says no. But when you attack food supply, when you attack water supply, when you attack maybe electrical grids, you have committed an act of war against me, my family, my friends, my country. And I have a right, not just a right, but a duty to step up and hold that person or persons accountable for those acts against harming my family and loved ones. So there's where I draw the line. I don't go out there and say, oh, go bang, bang, this, that, and everything else. No. If the masses would wake up and stand in their streets by the millions, folks, we could probably take care of this with very little collateral damage, put it that way. But since the masses are suckling on the teat of freebies and are, disempowering themselves for that, then we have real tough decisions to make, each and every one of us. But I always put God's word first. But when you attack the food, now you're attacking the water, and they're going to go up the electrical grid. They're already impeding your right to movement. I say, no, I'm done. You're attacking me and my family and loved ones. You have declared war personally on me and mine. It's just the way it is.
What do I say every week? I say the same thing every week. Remember the people who did this to you. Look for the big houses and look for the big yachts. Ironically, down here today, there's a big yacht out in the water right now that's burning. It just blew up. Nobody around it. Just blew up.
See how that works?
Sounds like an insurance scam.
Sounds like. But
Mhm.
yes, Sam, exactly. That's why I say don't fight with your family, don't fight with your friends, don't fight with your neighbors. Find out who's doing this. Absolutely no mercy. None. Don't even let them beg and plead.
No, you're right.
The worst
Zero
I would
mercy.
do, I mean, the least I would do is on some of them, the lower rung, I might just hand them over to the militia and let them imprison them, and the courts can decide, or the military tribunal. I'm just saying
Yeah,
on that level, if it doesn't get to the crap fully hitting the fan, John. But
right.
between now and that other step, we can still do military tribunals for the elected officials who have committed acts of treason, which is on both parties in the entire House and Senate. They
Yep.
need to be yanked and put aside and let the military tribunals begin. On the unelected, they need to also be removed and held over for a more formal court. That's before the full crap hits the fan. Once that happens, John, I agree with you. There is no mercy. None.
None.
You've had your chance. It's
None.
done.
None. Absolutely none. I won't be bringing anybody in. None. When we cross that line, it's done. It's done. Sam, you were talking about the militarized law enforcement. I got an article here from Laredo, Texas. A guy and his buddy were each fined $4,000 for washing their car after 10 p.m. because there's a curfew. They also got a dad and his two sons for a total of $12,000 in fines. And they got a picture of the tickets all laid out.
I won't pay any tickets. I won't pay any taxes.
Nope.
No matter whether it's the white hat or the black hat that went, it's done for me. I am not going to buy a license because I'm not a corporation. That money's staying with me. Thank you very much. I don't need it to be a traveler, as the Constitution says.
Correct.
We're talking sovereign citizens.
Actually,
the only sovereign citizens are the elected sovereign citizens and their lackey called police department.
Amen. Amen.
But I mean, actually, though, Bobby, it isn't sovereign citizen like we were just talking. But if you read the statute by law, the only person that needs a license is somebody doing interstate commerce.
Making money. You're right. Yep.
They did this just to make money. That's all it is.
Sure it is.
Like years back, I remember as a kid, you could put a trailer behind any vehicle you wanted. You didn't pay any registration or insurance on that trailer. Whatever vehicle it attached to, it was registered. Not anymore.
Right.
All got to be separate. Everyone. Yep. All it is a money-making scheme. That's all it is.
That's all it's ever been with the government, is a money-making scheme on everything that they've ever done. Everything from driver's licenses, all the way up fishing license, concealed carry permits. Why do I need a concealed carry permit? I have the God-given right to keep and bear arms to protect myself. It doesn't matter if I open carry or conceal carry. It doesn't matter. That is a God-given right by the Constitution of the United States, afforded to us by the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Think about this, Bobby, all right? You need a license to run a business. You need a license to cut hair. You need a license to drive a car. You need a license to fish. You need a license to hunt. You need a license for your dog. How free are we?
We're not.
Right. But the other thing I noticed, and I've been paying close attention since that last a theft of 6.2 trillion, but also the I guess Harvard just had to come out with a statement saying they won't take any federal bailout. But I'm going to tell you, folks, your colleges and your schools have failed us for decades, K through 12 and on up. They used to be able to follow doctors and nurses around, or a business person who knew accounting, or a scientist to watch how they work. You don't need these hyped up, inflated degrees to know what you're talking about. I've watched, I work, most of my background and degree is in mental health. And I watched what they did. They kept people deliberately sick to keep the revolving door in there. Even their PhDs are called piled higher and deeper. So whether you want, no matter magical lettering you want to give after your name, that's your choice. But you don't need to pay the exorbitant amount and get indoctrinated into certain political ideologies or religious considerations. That's a crock of crap. And we need, as a part of this, if we're going to save our country, because obviously there's our people we're going to have to step over in order to accomplish it. And that threshold has gotten very thin. So we are definitely on the tip of the precipice of finding out if it's going to be, FEMA camps or give me liberty or give me death. Let me put it that way nicely, because I'm a firm believer in that.
Thank you, Patrick Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And we don't need it the way they've been telling us. And anybody who, as Benjamin Franklin would say, anyone who would give up a little bit of liberty for a little bit of security deserves neither.
Neither. Yep.
And it's the truth. So you need to really think hard and long about how to keep your internal decision-making processes clear, because there's a lot of propaganda on all forms of media, all technical platforms. And don't get hooked in just because it gets you in the gut, like that supposed to be mom in Idaho who got arrested in the park. There's a lot of that. We know about false flags as well. But you need to also, I want to put this in, for those who are here, I trust that you're at least Christian. And if you can go into a meditative place, a prayer, a poem, some people it's music, do that. Keep your immune system calm, centered, because when we are on this knife, which we've been for a number of weeks, we break down our immune systems. It's not just a psychological battle. And so, be aware that you can't feed the beast of fear. Step back in faith. And if you can't stay in that faith, take time out and do a time of prayer, a time of meditation, a time of soothing music, or maybe a bubble bath, or whatever it is, what works for you. Yeah. Do that, but don't feed the beast. Don't wear down your immune systems. Keep your brain as clear as possible. Believe me, we all up here on the panel understand fully. We are 100% human. And we understand about doing research and having our minds pulled here and there. And I get brain farts on top of that. So, there's a whole lot of stuff.
There's a lot of discernment there. There is.
Yes, your discernment is the key. I think that keeping, our families, ourselves safe, as healthy as possible, is going to count even more and more as the days go on, no matter how long the black hats, no matter how long the white hats pull this yanking out on either side. They're going to go back and forth, and we are on all parties collateral damage at this point, because this is a massive international global battle. The demons wanting to win, and the God believing, God, Jesus knowing people. He wrote his words in us to know the light, the truth, and the way everlasting. So I may be some of that collateral damage, but at least I know once this body's shed, I'm going home to my Creator. I'm going home through Jesus the Christ, who have prepared the way for me. So really stay very clear. But while I'm here, as you know me, the guys know me up here, I'm a spitfire on this. It's not just words. Trust me. If they come knocking on my door, they're not going to like the response. I got a call in today. I answered the V. I let everything I don't recognize go to voicemail, and it was some social worker for whatever. And she says, well, we just decided to check in, and I want to give you the middle finger because she's useless anyway. But that being said, but we want to make sure that you wear masks and gloves. And I'm like, go pound sand. You want to beat the drummer of the demon. Take it and keep it away from me, because I'm not buying your crap, because I know the truth. And see, they can't fool me that way. So I just wipe it clean. I just deleted the message and say, you did your duty, demon. Now run along to the next person who may be more susceptible. God have mercy.
Amen. Yeah. Yeah, it's like having those women come to your door, okay, you've already been here twice, no need to come back.
Right.
I'm not going to call any names. We're not going to get into that tonight. But
Well, some of the
you're
other
right,
thing is,
Sam.
Bobby, is on this chicken thing. If you can get eggs at Dollar General or other places, maybe you want to hard boil them. Maybe you want to find some way to freeze dry them. Find some other ways to put some of these foodstuffs aside that may not be as easily accessible in the days, weeks, even months that come ahead. So
Well, I
I'm
drove
sorry
a truck
about
for 8 years, and for 3 years of that, I hauled ice packed chicken breast to New York City every week. And I'm going to tell you, these factories are huge.
that. Yeah.
You know, these plants, these chicken plants, beef plants, pork plants, egg facilities, they're huge. And by them doing what they're doing right now, it's not going to affect us immediately.
Right.
It's going to affect us a few weeks from now. When you go to the store and there are no eggs, there is no milk.
Or you're
You
paying
know,
$8 for a dozen or $10 for a
there
dozen.
you go. My mom, 89 years old almost, went to the grocery store the other day to get some toilet paper. She picked up 2 4-roll packs of Charmin. She went to the cash register and they wanted $38 for 2 4-roll packs of Charmin toilet paper. Now, you tell me that's not gouging.
Well, now keep in mind, okay, and I meant to mention this on the last show. Up in Jay, Maine, last week, they had a mill explosion up there. And I actually was watching a live video from a trucker. They had all the trucks lined up with the logs. The mill exploded. And the mill was for making toilet paper.
But see, this is what I was saying, Bobby and John. They've declared war. That wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I know.
You know, wiping out farmers' ability to grow crops or gather crops, or milk producers to get the milk to the people, irregardless of the FDA, which is a crime organization too, the CDC, the FCC, they're all government people.
Sure.
We see, well, the government fights among itself.
Right.
They declared war on you and I with these acts of crimes against humanity, acts of war, whether it's that mill, whether it's the farmers in the Northwest, it doesn't matter.
Right. I'm
We
with you.
are at war, you and I, against them, whoever we find them to be. We are at war. They are targeting us. Get that through your head. We can't be just, I'm sorry to say this and forgive me, but we cannot be just keyboard warriors. We got to put our mouth and right action to our behaviors to make it clear that I already told my peeps a couple of days ago, if I go missing, you will know where I am. But trust me, I am not going to go silently into the night. I'm not going to say, hey, no way. No. It's not going to work.
No.
I'm not going to aid and abet evil, period, for me.
Amen.
You know, and if you look at it this way, guys, there's literally only a handful of people that are controlling all of this.
Everything.
And there's millions and millions of us. Come on, people, wake up. Once again, I mean, and we talked about Trump. I've kind of lost interest in the man, but he keeps saying, they're not after me, they're after you.
Well, the other thing is that poor hairdresser in Alabama, what happened to him was he actually, I mean, you may already know this, you know, they decided to fine him. And what I'm telling my peeps is stand behind these small businesses that want to reopen to serve the public. We, the people, make the choice. And if that means that there is hundreds of us that show up to get around the back of that and protect that business owner, you better believe the cops are going to hightail it the hell out of there because we rule in numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not about going choo about them. What it is about reminding them who really has the power. It's our sheriffs, our well-armed militia, and we, the people of the United States of America, step up and be counted because your God, our country needs you now, and so don't your family and friends.
Yep. Don't be afraid. And I've been saying this, and I do this all the time. Do not be afraid. When you see a cop, ask him what side he's going to be on. Because when they hear it enough from people, they're going to be going, holy shit, everybody's aware of what's going on. Things are changing, and some things are good. There's an article, and not to cut into Bobby's time, there's an article that just came out by Harvard Magazine that has major concerns because they're finding that kids, while they're being homeschooled right now, are doing better than they are when they're in school. So they're concerned now that they may have to pass laws making homeschooling an arrestable offense. Okay? Yep. That's one thing. The other thing,
don't trust anybody putting out any vaccines, whether it's Gates or some other numbchuck. Don't buy that line. Don't get tested. It's a crock of crap. Right. There's too many layers of that.
I got to interrupt, folks. I got to interrupt. And you may have already heard this. I hope you can hear this. I'm not going to play the video because I can't. I'm not smart enough to cue it up. But maybe you can hear this. And this is John Solomon from Fox News. Yeah. And he's talking to a guy who's setting up everything for the
hot mic.
Yep, there was a hot mic there, and they called him. So let's see if I can play that for you. I had it pulled up. It's right here. Let's just see if we can hear it.
What's up, Johnny? All right, man. What do you know, baby? You can take out the mask, Doug. The case fatality rate's like 0.1 to 0.3 according to USC.
Really? That's reassuring.
USC.
Everybody here's been vaccinated anyway.
USC and LA County Public Health.
That's what I wanted you to hear. Did you hear that?
You catch that?
Everybody's been vaccinated here anyway. So John Solomon from Fox News walks into the room. There's a guy in there with a mask on setting up chairs. And he says, hey, man, you can take that mask off because we've all been vaccinated anyway. But there's no vaccine.
There's a doctor out there that Awake also put out, which was wonderful. And her name is Dr. Tenpenny. She's on, she has a YouTube channel. And she's really good. She's very clear about all these childhood vaccinations they're pushing and why they've been trying to make it mandated all across the board is because they've been proven to cause cancer and other illnesses later on that will feed the pharmaceutical companies and keep you sick as well as medicine. So you can never be well for very long because they're constantly have you in the cycle and charging you exorbitant amount of money. And I really got a good feeling from this particular doctor because I know a lot of them have degrees and they can stick where the sun don't shine. But this one happens to be, have a sense of integrity. I don't know if she's Christian or not. It was irrelevant, but her words were wise and honest. And I really appreciated that. And there are others like her out there. So you need to be mindful of that. These forced vaccinations, whether on our children or whether around this flu, whether it's around this second wave that they're saying is coming, it's a crock of crap. They know it, and the rest of us who haven't been aware are waking up to it. And then there's going to be others that'll fall for it. We'll have to say our prayer, nurse them if they get sick, and then just keep on going, folks, because this is a time, in all honesty, just think of it this way, and I've been thinking about this a lot. A lot of time people have at home now. Some of that's really wonderful, more opportunity with maybe a spouse or children or other loved ones and grandchildren, because there's a lot of grandparents raising grandbabies. But this is also a time to educate yourself, to stay informed. And the only way you can do that is by doing your own research.
Amen.
And so I really strongly encourage you to take that, even if you put maybe a half an hour of your day at first and pick just one or two publications, just to get an overall view of what the chat's about today. But start to really utilize that time for those that are already got their sampling or their seeds planted, waiting to grow samplings or other things. Use it very productively. The other thing I'd like to encourage people, and you've probably heard this from Bobby or John or both already, and then is find new skills.
Yes.
If you love to use to play a guitar, teach yourself through the internet now how to do that. If you're a great baker, a great knitter, a great grower, a great whatever that may be for you, Start investing in yourself, because those skills can be bartered later down the road.
Exactly.
If it goes south quickly, and it's
Exactly.
going to go. And
Yeah.
so we just don't know which of the that knife blade it's going to go under, whether you're gray hat, a black hat, white hat, gray hat, whatever. But see, we're to both of them right now, because their heads are so there about fighting each other that we are the collateral damage, and that's the real truth of it. And
Amen. And
Yeah.
but we're we're expendable.
Yeah.
yes.
We're expendable.
I want to say one thing there, Bobby. Linda
Sure.
Horner wrote in, said local news had a teacher actually say, don't go for A's right now, go for C's. What is that? Well, I can tell you, Linda, what that is, and it has to do with what I just said, is the students, the kids are learning more at home than they are at school. And the Board of Ed is concerned about their job security, because when the kids come back, they're going to be advanced. The C's is the dumbing down part of our kids. They don't want kids to have A's. They want them to have C's so they can keep getting all these benefits, or not benefits, but what's the term I'm looking for?
It's
All
the
these new
money and the power.
Right. All these new programs and stuff. There's a reason why she's saying that, because they're worried about their job security.
Yeah,
That's
and either way, what's going to happen is that we're going, if the whiter hats win, then we will not be forced to buy into a police tyranny group across the nation. We will have sheriffs, and we will have a well-organized militia that will keep them in check too, because some of them have forgone power for a long time and given it to the corrupted unions, and the same thing with the Board of Education, the educational system. It actually happens to be a corrupted group of theft. And I don't know if you two remember. Do you remember who got bumped from YouTube, and then she came back, and she's Northernmost Midnight Sun now? She apparently, the Board
She
of
was
Education,
Midnight Sun, I think.
right?
Yeah.
She ended up in her little community up there in Alaska. The parents got so angry when these teachers started going by their houses and blaring their horns that immediately they ceased, because they were so afraid, because the parents are going to hold them accountable. And this is, no matter how you look at it, one way or another, we're all going to be held accountable for what we do or don't do right here, right now, and in the days and weeks, etc., going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to be guilty of whatever befalls us, you know, by not stopping it, or at least making an effort.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to my mother this morning, we were talking about it, and I said, Mom, I hope the day doesn't ever come. I said, but let me ask you a question. When they show up at the door and I've got all three of my weapons, do you want me to go ahead and shoot you first?
Ooh.
And she says, if you're going to be shooting them, yeah, shoot me first, because I don't want to see you die.
It's a sad way.
Of course, I would never do that. I would never do
life.
that. But, I would never put my mom in danger.
Yeah.
In any way. But, that just that says a lot for an 89-year-old woman. She sees what's happening, even though she wants to keep her eyes closed and not know.
Yeah.
This is a war for everything or nothing, folks. It's that simple. Everything or nothing.
Yeah.
All or nothing.
I a couple other things real quick on the good news aspect for us.
Go ahead, John.
Is Bill de Blasio set up his snitch line this weekend.
Oh, I meant to talk about that. Go ahead.
Let people rat people out. If you see people that are, too close together, you call the snitch line and they get arrested and you get a pat on the back.
And a little check.
Yeah. Well, that didn't work out so well. So far, all they've gotten was over inundated with penis pics and Nazi memes, except for one individual who called NYPD to let him know that he's seen something, so he has to say something. He said, I seen Bill de Blasio giving oral sex in an alley behind 7-Eleven early Sunday, and I want him arrested. So you got to kind of laugh at the humor of the American people. They are throwing it right back in their face.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But the sad thing is how many millions of dollars did they spend on this program? Our money.
On
Well,
all
you
of
know,
these.
John, it's the same thing whether they're giving millions and millions to these universities or pet projects, whether it's
Yep.
a museum or other. It's the same thing. It's still thievery. They're stealing from us to give to their pet projects, their pet people, their pet organizations, whatever. It's the same thing of putting people in positions of power. You cannot just draw from your slate. I was upset when I saw President Trump, to be honest with you. He went out, he did this that particular day. He went to do his daily spiel, and he had Purdue there, and Purdue was, oh, there's nothing to worry about food and and then he goes and Purdue sits down. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll see. And within 3 minutes of the guy sitting down, Trump's like, yeah, we may answering an MSM report personality, put it that way, question about, sending the Congress home. He could send a portion, the Senate, he could send the House, he could send them both. And he said, well, I might, he said, because wait a minute, how long has it, what was the guy's, the chicken guy, his name?
Purdue.
Purdue.
He said, I've been trying to get you, 2.5 years? That's not what we want, folks. We don't want that kind of favoritism. I don't care. It's not acceptable behavior anymore. That kind of favoritism cannot be tolerated from any of our politicians or political parties or people in power. It's not serving. And we now have a long history to go back and see that it isn't and hasn't been serving us for a long time. But understand, be gentle with yourself, because a lot of us didn't know we needed to know, because
right.
we were busy raising families or we had other commitments. We didn't realize that we needed to realize. And so be gentle with yourself and those around you, because they have been doing, most of them, been working jobs, been getting education, raising children. They've been doing the right things. They just didn't know that they needed to know. And so have compassion in your heart, because what's going to be the difference between, in my perception, them and us, as if what's between our ears is connected to our heart. They are only interested in their pocketbooks and their positions of power and all that. But we have right thought. Let it sink to your heart. Have the compassion. That doesn't mean that you don't take care of business when you're called to, put it that way. But remember, on a lot of the masses, they didn't know they needed to know. And many of us can fall into that too at different points in our lives.
I'm trying to do something here for Linda Horner. She's getting up a list of phone numbers for people who want to give their phone numbers, so that if YouTube ever does away with us, we will still be able to
Well, Bobby, I'd like to recommend that you don't do the phone numbers. Do your emails and run it through a secure person.
Well, either way they want to do it, they're contacting her. But all I'm putting up here is, well, if I can get rid of that Y, every time I click on it, it doesn't go away. I spelt it wrong. There we go. PatriotFriends@yahoo.com. That's going to be it. All right, let me see if I can get rid of this extra T right here.
And
nope.
The last article I got to say is that, and once again, it's the people that have had enough. Nearly 25,000 email addresses and passwords belonging to members of the World Health Organization, the National Institute of Health, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, as well as a host of others, have been hacked.
Imagine that.
And they were
with all of their stuff.
Yeah, and they were downloaded. So it's a beautiful thing. So right off the top, they did an interview, and it said neo-Nazis and white supremacists capitalized on the list and published them aggressively across their venues. Oh, here we go again. Here we go again.
Yeah, they got to push the buck over to somebody else. We know how they don't like to take personal responsibility for their own shortcomings. Bobby, may I ask you a question?
You may certainly ask me a question.
How did you work it with the numbers and the emails? Because I was thinking about those things and I was curious. I don't know, how did you work it?
Well, what's happened is Linda Horner has set up and that's what I'm looking for, is her making sure I got the right one. But she set up an email just for that. And it's up to you if you want to send your phone number or your email or your address.
Okay.
It's up to you, just some way so we can all, just in case YouTube does their job and does away with us all. I'm not going to DLive for one. I'm done. If YouTube knocks me off, I'm done. And that's fine. But no, I'm not going to start from zero all over again. I'm just not into, I love what I do. But if they do away with me, they will. But I still want to stay in touch with my friends, such as you and John and everybody else in here, 12B Georgia, Charity, Phil C., Linda Horner, anybody who wants to stay in touch. I talk to a lot of people already. I talk to Black Matter all the time, and I talk to both of y'all. I talk to Charity. It's great, to stay in touch with people, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And, Bobby, I'm in the same mindset you are. If they're going to attack YouTube, we don't even know if people aren't being shepherded to these other tech platforms, and they may be targeted later too. I will do what I can and then stay in contact the best I can with other people. So that's why I was asking about it, because if they pull it, they pull it. I'm not going to be dancing, but bebopping around to a different drummer. So thank you for telling me, because I was wondering, because I've heard a couple of other people talk about getting something up and going, and that's what sparked my interest in it. And I said, well, that's an excellent thing, because we need to be staying connected. We need to stay in touch with each other. So it's good to know.
Yeah, and that's at patriotfriends@yahoo.com. That's the email to get in touch with Linda. And like I say, we're not going to be trying to call everybody and and bother everybody, by no means. But if you want to be a part of this family, this is not the Patriot family. This is our family. It's the American family of people who are like-minded, think the same way, and believe in the one living God. And that's the way it is. And everybody's welcome unless you choose to be something else. And then we'll deal with that. But everybody's welcome here.
Yeah, everybody's family.
Everybody.
One last thing for me, and I'll shut my pie hole, and Bobby, you can run with it. Over in Spain, they have started issuing out $2,000 or 2,000 euro fines for disrespecting a police officer. So if the officer feels like you're disrespecting him when he tells you to go in the house, automatically you get a 2,000 euro fine.
Goodness gracious.
They said some of the countries over there have raised millions of dollars in fines already for the government.
Yeah, sure.
Millions. How long has this been going on?
Yeah, good point.
Think about it.
When's it coming here?
John and Mommy, they can find me all the yin yang they want.
Oh, absolutely.
Try collecting.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you, Sam.
Exactly.
I'll tell you, it's amazing that we can have people from all across the country to have the same mindset. I'll tell you something that really bothered me this week. Everybody knows that they had that big deal in Houston, the big food fair and all that, and they were giving away 90,000 pounds of food. That's a lot of food. And there was a lot of people in it, and it was in your car. You'd drive up, and then, they would load you with whatever you needed. Well, in Houston, thousands of people flooded that food market giveaway. It was sponsored by the Houston School District. All right, more than 4,000 cars passed through the food bank in just a couple of hours. I have no problem giving food to the needy and the poor. No problem at all. My problem is the fact that more than half of those seeking the free food were driving new or nearly new SUVs such as Escalades, 4Runners, Hummers, Yukons, pilots, navigators, and all of these Mercedes Benz and BMW SUVs.
Yep.
Now, these people are driving at least $100,000 car, but yet they're going and taking food that was meant for the needy and the poor. And that just eats my lunch. These cars have, I mean, come on. These scumbags, they have no shame. I mean, they have TVs in the headrest. You know, they got flip down flat screens and DVDs and Blu-ray systems and SD cards and HDMI systems and headphones and auxiliary inputs. They've got everything that a person could ever need out of a vehicle. And yet they're begging for food.
You know, Bobby, at least, you know, I'm glad you brought it up, because people remember in all professions and walks of life, there are really good people. There's great teachers out there. There are good police officers. There are good people. There are good people in all those areas. We're talking about, when I talk, I'm talking about as a blanketed organizations or unions and such like that.
Right.
And you know, Bobby, it breaks your heart that some people don't have that good quality moral compass, that they will put the risk of other children, poor, hungry children, parents that don't have a job and able to work right now, they will put them off just so they could feed their egos, just so they can get something free. And that's criminal. And on that regard, you know what? When Jesus comes, he's going to sift and sort through them pretty darn quick, because they're doing crimes against his children, our children. And but it's gratifying to know that that particular school system stepped up and chose to do what was really good and right,
even if it was abused.
Yeah,
These beggars, in my opinion, should be ashamed, and they should really pray for forgiveness for their actions, because they're purely evil and self-centered. Many needy people stayed in line for hours waiting for just a bag of food, but they were turned away because these well-to-do scumbags who have every means available to buy food, but they chose to steal it from the hands of those children. And that's what eats my lunch.
Well, I can add on to that. And
Go ahead.
This just came out today in Hillsborough County, Florida. Schools cracking down on free meal programs after parents have been caught selling the food. In the meantime, they've been turning 40 plus cars a day away because they don't have enough food. And we have parents that are taking their kids' food and selling it.
Sure they are. Sure they are.
Well, I'll say this. Hillsborough is not the Rodeo Drive of Florida. Let's put it that way.
I understand.
But how sad is that not only are you starving your own kids, but there's good people standing in line that need the food and can't get it because you're too busy grabbing it to sell it for what? Shoot it up your arm, snort it up your nose?
Yep.
well, wait a minute. One thing. Okay, I'm going to play a little advocate here. Now, don't mistake me on selling the food. But think of it this way. Some of these parents, if they don't work, and I'm not saying that that's it for all of them, but maybe some of those parents have to make a decision to sell that food to pay for the roof over their head or other things. Now, I'm not in any way approving of ever taking food from a child, but we've got to think a bigger box than the headlines. Because remember, they want to incite us to violence so they can justify that hard martial law or that hard action. So I just want to caution a little bit here, not justify the decision they made, but the caution about it, because we really don't know.
Well, here's what I know. I know that about half of the people getting food stamps don't deserve them. And I'm going to tell you something else. These people that I just talked about, if they were really in need and hungry, they could go get food stamps if they're really needy. Okay? There's not just food stamps. There's missions. There's church pantries. There's all kinds of places for these people to get food. There's no need for any child to go hungry.
Right.
Because if you have a child, that child is going to be taken care of if you take care of him or not. Now, well, I shouldn't say that, because what they're going to give you for that child, you may sell.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem comes. I know
Right.
so many people over my lifetime who had food stamps, and they sold them.
Listen, when I was on the force, we used to give out for Christmas in the town I worked. A bunch of us cops would get together and rebuild old bikes, and we'd give out about 100 bikes a year. And it would be literally the day after Christmas. I'd run into some kid and I'm going, "Where's your bike that we just gave you?" "Oh, my mom sold it for dope."
Mhm.
Oh,
That's why, Sam, that's why I come at that attitude, because that's what I've seen.
Yep.
You give
Same
them
here.
you
Same
know
here.
what? We have, we have had government installed now for decades that have fostered suckling on the teat of government.
Yes.
And corrupting people's work ethics and corrupting their way of seeing and thinking things. And I agree with you, John. In no way do I agree taking food from a child, period.
No.
I mean, there's no rationale in my mind for that at all.
Especially right now, like down here in Florida, you can't evict anybody right now, no matter if you
Okay.
pay your payments or not. So priority one should be your kids.
Exactly.
Nobody's
I
making car
agree.
payments down here. Nobody's making mortgage payments or rent payments. No evictions are taking place. Evictions have been put off for over 3 months.
Same here.
And those parents that are doing that got caught, John, they're going to rue the day in the very few months ahead when they don't have food for those same children.
Yeah.
And they're going to their name's going to be on a list of those who are, giving food to the poor and the hungry and the kids, and they won't be able to. They may have their children removed from them and put in something else. That's another thing that could come.
Exactly. Now, there's another problem, and actually Black Matter just brought that up.
That's right.
So the kids get taken from the parents, and where do they end up? So not only are they victimized by their own family, now they're going to get victimized by the state on top of it.
Yep.
And then they come out with an attitude, and people go, "Well, what's their problem?"
Yeah, and 80% of the children in
We need to get them on
social services gets trafficked.
Exactly. So, I mean, it turns into a complete mess. The whole situation can turn into a complete mess. So,
Well, that's why I was talking about, having some compassion as we move in the days, weeks, and months ahead, folks. We don't know what's going to actually change the tide to tipping to being the black hats court or tipping to go in the white hats court. But that's why I talk about compassion too, is because, you may have 2 cans of beans and the neighbor next door who you couldn't stand has 2 mouths to feed. So what are you going to do? Minimally, for me, I give them a can and a half. I keep some for myself to stay healthy, but I give the other can and a half to that group of people that maybe even the day before I couldn't stand. For those kids, it's not about the adults, it's about our children, and they are our most precious gifts that God's ever given us, and they deserve every opportunity to live and thrive. And I'm right on with you, Bobby and John, about we may have to do some intercession as time goes on for these children, because it is for the children. And maybe instead of giving them that can and a half of beans, what I'll do is cook it up and give them a paper plate or whatever to eat it for me, and just tell them a story as they're eating, instead of trusting the parents with it. So,
Right.
That we're going to have to think outside of the box maybe on some of these things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said that all along since the beginning, Bobby, and you know it. I've told you flat out, I am into this. I am in this for the very young and the very old.
Amen.
I will fight a bloody battle to save a child or save an elderly person. They actually just released on Fox News earlier, I think it was Texas, all medical personnel have been told, do not resuscitate anybody in cardiac arrest at this point.
Anybody?
I heard that was rescinded. I heard that was rescinded.
It just came out on the news today.
Well,
Okay,
I know
that
for a
was
fact
in
that
New York, John, New York's one got rescinded because Kuma just started to do that in New York today and got called up on it and then had to rescind it. Or
Okay.
maybe that's what I'm thinking.
But they still have
Let me-
one up there that's enforceable, and that is no one over 60 or anyone with a COVID virus will be resuscitated by CPR. Anybody over 60 or a COVID patient will not, no matter the age, be resuscitated.
Yeah, you're right, Sam. New York has rescinded. You're right. It says that right there. Yeah, but there was another one that just issued it now.
Yeah.
I thought it was Texas.
Well, again, people are having to make decisions, and all healthcare providers, whether you're an LPN, RN, MD, EMS certified, they're going to have to make a decision based on their conscience, and not because some man or woman somewhere told them that. It's just like when you go to meet Jesus, you don't say, well, I did that because that was my job. Do you think that's going to fly any easier, folks, with this? Absolutely not, because you're still killing God's children, and you made that decision on your own to take the dictates or whatever from another person. Everybody's going to, every area, we keep hearing about it. It doesn't matter what profession you're in. It doesn't matter what socioeconomic rung of the ladder you are. We're all having to make decisions, and you're going to have to, for those still on the fence, their time is really up. And we're going to see that. And if I ever catch anybody in me, trust me, folks, and I mean this, Bobby and John, if I see an EMT, do not resuscitate, and I can perform CPR because I'm CPR trained, I'm going to perform CPR. And if they try to do something to me, they're going to get a kick somewhere where the sun don't shine or a sock in the mouth.
That's right. That's right.
There you go.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. I say anytime the Democrats or the cabal or the elites and stuff, they try something, it always backfires in their face.
Yeah.
Washington State now, Snohomish County sheriffs have told the governor they are not enforcing the stay-at-home law. Absolutely
Good.
not. The sheriff has said, to be quite honest, I wasn't even sure what he was trying to say half the time. He has no plan. He has no details. But the sheriff is saying that he has been getting a lot of complaints from the public wanting to know if it was constitutional, and if not, can they arrest the governor?
Actually, they can. The sheriff can. Absolutely. The sheriff can
Well,
go
the
right
sheriff-
in and take that governor out anywhere in the country or any other elected official. The sheriff has the full consent of the Constitution. Yes.
That's
The
right.
sheriff-
That's why we have sheriffs.
A lot of people don't realize the sheriff is the high law of the land over the FBI, ATF, any federal branch, any local, municipal, state. The sheriff is the high ruler of the land.
In that county, yes, they are.
In that county, and that's the key, people. You call your sheriffs, find out where they stand on some of this stuff to see what kind of sheriff you have. But
Yep.
they are the highest authority in their county, bar none.
Yep.
And the thing
Well,
is,
I know our sheriff here in Paulding County personally. I used to go to church with him. And I'll tell you what, he's a fine man.
yeah,
And most of our cops are too. I can honestly say
But
that.
you
I've
know
met
why,
many
though?
of them.
because they're elected officials.
Yeah.
We hired you, we can fire you. Where
That's
any other branch, you can't fire them.
That's
Good
right.
luck.
And
And
see,
right.
trust me, I worked with some scumbags that should have went to prison. They couldn't even fire them.
Yeah, and so that means mayors, town council, board of education, chief of police, because not the chief of police is higher. It's a misnomer.
Right.
They've had that fuel for a long time to misguide
Oh yeah.
the public about police departments thinking they were the law of the land. They're not. They've protect and serve. They don't. They're not supposed to. They come after the fact to do investigations. They're not there to protect your arse anymore. They are protect mine. It's all been choreographed to lead you into the deception, and then after a certain point, hook, line, and sinker, keep it there. So you're right.
You know what's funny? I'll tell you a quick story real quick. I was involved in a good sized raid one night, and we had everybody there. Even the IRS was there. And the IRS guy, he was a complete idiot. And he really thought he was taking the show. Well, I was Ram. I was on the Ram. I was the first one to the door.
Right.
So he was running his chicklets, and I said, you know what? I said, I'm Ram. I'll back out. You go first. You take the first bullet. Oh, no. You guys can do that. This is your town. You can do that. Then shut your pie hole. Either you're going in the door first or you're stepping in the back and you're staying in the back. And when we're inside, don't think you're taking over. I dealt with every branch of the federal government, and the IRS and the Federal Bureau of Intimidation, as I used to call them, are the worst.
Yeah.
Are the worst. The FBI, they're a bunch of crackpots. They really are.
Well, again, that moral compass for me isn't something that can be taught. You may be able to show behaviors and help encourage it, but it's an internal thing too. And each one of us have to make that decision on what we choose to do or not to do. And it's a moral compass. And often, you hear it, and it's true for me. I can't speak for others, but for me, he wrote it in my heart, and he gave me a mind to understand that. And first do no harm is there for a reason, even in medicine, folks, is because you're not supposed to. And so any medical person who would segue into harming another human being, whether it's do not resuscitate, unless that particular person has made that decision for themselves in their abilities to do so.
Right.
But, that moral compass, everybody is going to have to make that decision. And you're right. But as far as the law of the land, it is the sheriff's.
Yeah, that is a problem. And Wayne Rogers just brought this up, and this is true. And I've said this many times.
Yeah.
People don't realize that law enforcement, by law, do not have to protect you. They are there to investigate after the fact. Okay. Now, I dealt with that for 15 years. My 6 years in fire rescue, we had this one area of town that was a low income apartment complex, and there was shootings and stabbings there all the time. And it got to the point where they were literally steal stuff off our trucks when we roll in for a fire. And the chief finally said, listen, guys, the taxes pay to get this fire truck to the scene. From there, you can all walk away if you wish. We do not have to fight the fire. They pay for the equipment to get there. You guys, if you want to walk away, walk away. Yeah. So people need to realize, and that's the problem, is we've looked to law enforcement to save us for everything. I got a call one day from the DMV. I am in a stakeout. I'm waiting for a kilo of cocaine to show up. Okay. I get a call from dispatch saying, can you go up to the motor vehicle department? They have a squirrel in the building. Call the motor vehicle department back and ask them if there is any men in the building that can actually open the door and chase the squirrel out. Do you know I got written up for that comment? They wanted me to leave my post, undercover post, to chase a freaking squirrel out of the Department of Motor Vehicles. Are you kidding me? But this is the problem. The cops are the answers. We used to get calls all in the late nights. Oh, my plumbing's leaking. Oh, my heater's going out. I have a bat in the house. Here's an idea, lady. Close your windows, douse the place in gas, and light it. I guarantee you that bat will leave. But that's what happens.
Well, I had a I don't know if he was a rabid fox or if he was just sick, come up to the house one night when I had company here, and it just kept on coming, and both my dogs were raising Cain, and it wouldn't turn around and go back. So I looked at it and I said, there's something wrong with that fox. So I got my 357 and I called, because I live pretty close to the police department. I didn't want to be popping off a cap and them coming and arresting me. So I called them, told them what I was doing. And they says, well, go, if you feel threatened, go ahead and shoot him.
Shoot him. Yep.
And then 4 police cars showed up with 2 cops each.
Oh, yeah.
For that one fox.
Yeah.
And when they got here, it was dead.
Oh, we had to do a whole process. We had to do a whole process with that. I had to shoot a couple. You can't do headshots. You got to do body shots and then wrap them up, and we throw them in a cruiser. And then the state would come and pick them up and test them for rabies when rabies was
on. Yeah.
You know,
hysteria or whatever
Bobby,
it is they call it. Yes.
I'm gonna step down and go into chat again, Bobby. As always, thank you.
I understand.
John, you too, my friend.
Nice seeing you, Sam. Yeah, we'll be
Love
in touch.
You, Sam.
It's just been just crazy busy lately. That's all.
Thank you for being here, and I know you're having a hard time sitting there. So yeah, We're going to be getting out here in just a minute anyway.
Okay. I'll see you later.
Love you, Sam.
See you, Sam. Be good.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Sam's a great lady. I love her. She's really good. So, John, do you have anything right off the top of your head?
Well, no, unfortunately.
Go ahead and tell that story. Everybody needs to know it.
Yeah. Everything I bought, I'm running 2 computers here at the same time. The deeper that I get into stuff, the more problems with my electronics I'm seem to be having. Right before the show, I went to sign on and it wouldn't take my password. And I kept trying to enter it. And it finally came up that my password was changed 19 days ago. By
And
who?
you were on it yesterday.
By who? It's just me. Who the hell changed my password? So I finally got in, and everything that I had on my computer is gone. Every bit of information I've been working on, every article I've saved, everything is gone. So the fact that I'm even here tonight is a surprise. So what I had for tonight is gone. So I don't know what's going on, but I got all kinds of computer problems and phone issues again. So I don't know if somebody is not liking what's being said or what have you, but we're working on it.
I got it. Yeah, you'll work through it, I'm sure. Yeah, Wayne Rogers did, DFW. Yeah, I know. They cops are crazy when it comes to wild animals. There's a Miami Herald columnist named Fabiola Santiago. Well, she tweeted that Florida beaches should work very nicely to thin the ranks of supporters of President Trump and Ron DeSantis. Now, if that's not, how do they get away with this stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, they're walking that fine line between, getting people hurt.
It's building up the anger.
And then you got this idiot Joy Behar. She called an armed lockdown protesters terrorists. The people who are protesting, and there's people protesting all over the country.
Listen,
I mean, everywhere.
Watch how many of these news media and these shows say, oh, they always lean to it's the white people, and there's Confederate flags and Nazi flags. They're blowing the same BS up our butts over. I mean, it's getting to be old. It's the same MO. The extremists, the white supremacists, the neo-Nazis. Are you kidding me? Just shut up. Just shut up. I'm tired of hearing about it. It's nuts. It really is.
Yeah, she's calling for us to, there's no need for us to carry guns anywhere, especially to rallies. She said that we have to understand that we infect other people. She tried to quote Patrick Henry, but failed by saying, "Give me liberty and death." That's not what he said. He said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And so she's trying to play, her little words, but she's proposing that a lot of people will die because of our behavior.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about Trump supporters now. We're not talking about any demon rats. Of course, they don't break laws. They don't go out against curfews and stuff. The red-headed socialist progressive demon contends that we, the people, are being egged on by the media like Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, yeah.
And why are you bringing guns to a rally anyway? These are terrorists who bring guns to rallies. Just because she's got a little show and she can run her little mouth.
Absolutely.
She's got a sense. Who is she?
And let them run because people are getting tired of it. Bobby, read what Charity wrote.
Charity, do you want to come on and talk about it, or you want to talk to us personally? I was fixing to end the show, but if you want to come on, we'll listen to what you got to say for sure.
One thing I want to say real quick, Bobby, is, again, yesterday I go down to Home Depot. I wait in line for 10 minutes to get into Home Depot. You go literally 3 minutes down the road to Lowe's, you walk right in the store. There's no lines.
Exactly. Yeah.
It makes absolutely no freaking sense.
There's no lines, but they still got 10 people out there making sure you don't go in this door. You got to go in that door. And they're just standing around on the clock while people, like you said, at my Home Depot here, there's
Yeah.
no lines.
Yeah.
But you got to walk past 10 people to go in the store.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me
Franny
a
Pierce,
break.
Franny Pierce, thank you for that. Fantastic. We need more of that.
Amen. Thank you, Franny. Yes, ma'am. That's what we all need to do that. I know Liberty Smith has been really busy calling the White House and writing letters to Congress and his mayor and his governor. And that's what we all need to do.
Yeah, I have.
And,
I-
amen. Amen.
That's probably the problem with my phone. But it just, it's just so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. So,
Okay, Charity. Whatever you say, sweetheart. I'll call you tomorrow.
in Texas, under a national disaster, we are able to carry a license or not. Nice.
Amen.
You know what, though, Wayne Rogers, pretty soon, that's going to be everywhere, no matter what the government wants. They have pushed it to that point. I'm very close to that now. You know what's crazy down here? All right, I can't carry on me, but I can have it in my vehicle as long as it's inside of a compartment. I don't have to have a license. I can drive around with it as long as it's not on my person. How stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, in Georgia, you can carry without a concealed carry, open, or if you have it in your car, it has to be up on the dash in plain sight.
Really?
Yeah, you can't have it in the glove box anywhere else. It's got to be in plain sight. Well, what I like about having a CCP, I got pulled over. I had a date with this old girl, lived about 30 miles away, and I was taking her home and got pulled over. So I handed him my concealed carry and my license. And he says, are you packing? I said, yes, sir. He said, where's it at? I said, right here in the glove box. He said, what are you packing? I told him what I was packing. He said, hey, that's my second carry.
Yeah.
And we sat there and we talked guns for 10 minutes, and he sent me on my happy way.
Now, the older generation of law enforcement would do that.
Yep.
I ran into several people in my time that were armed, and I'm like, cool, just keep your hands on the wheel, where I can see it, and everything's cool. Nowadays you say that, I mean, it's getting to be a dangerous game now. These new guys, they're just nuts. They really are. See you, Liberty Smith.
Yep. See you later, Liberty. We're fixing to get out of here in just a minute because John got all his stuff snatched and Sam's run off and left us. I love Sam. She's a great lady. She's always got great input. I'm always happy to have her on. And of course, John, I'm really glad to have you on. Maybe Friday night.
I wish I had
computer
more.
Maybe your computer won't crash Friday night.
Oh my God. I got to try to figure out if I can recover what's gone. I don't know. Like I
Maybe
said,
you can.
I'm not computer savvy. It's basically like I just took it out of the box. Everything is just wiped clean.
You're right. You're right, Wayne. They're not going to let us go back to being free.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
They're not. We're
Everything has changed.
yeah.
Everything.
We're literally going to have to fight. And I'm not talking at the ballot box. I'm talking about getting ugly to get back what they took from us.
That's right. Well, now, and we're going to have to take it back
Yes.
if we get it back.
Yeah. We're not asking for it back. We're taking it back. Plain
But you're
and
going to have governors like Northam and that idiot in Michigan up there who think that they're emperors or whatever, making these unconstitutional laws, threatening us, locking us up.
You know what? You can only threaten so many people, and karma has a way of returning the favor.
That's right.
It's coming. Right. It's coming. I mean, look at Bill Gates. He's still belly aching about his Twitter account. They are literally blowing up his Twitter account, calling him every name in the book. People are done. The fight is about to start. It really is. So get ready, guys.
And believe me, Fight and Defend and I are not fearmongers.
No,
we're not warmongers. The last thing we want is any innocent person to die. He was a policeman for many years, and I was a paramedic for a lot of years. And our jobs were to protect the people when we could, or to help them. And even when John was in drugs, you know, and doing stings and stuff like that, he was still protecting the people.
Absolutely.
You know, you were protecting the kids in school from these drugs and taking these drug dealers off the street. And then after you'd shoot them, I'd patch them up.
Absolutely.
If you
keep
didn't kill them.
Hey, we got to justify your job there, Bob.
There you go. There you go. All right, everybody. It's been a good time. Like I said, Fight and Defend got robbed on his computer, and Sam had to go away. And I've been through most of the stuff I have here, but I'll tell you, it's been a lot of fun. I love having Sam and John on here together. Between the two of them, you don't miss much of anything.
And we got a great chat room. We really
Yes,
do.
we do. We got some of the best chatters in here going.
A lot of great
people.
patriots in there, and I'm so happy. From my point of view, I've been talking about this stuff for 25 years, and just in the last few years, people have woken up, and it does my heart good to see people are awake and people are pissed. It's sad that we have to be that way, but thank God I'm not the only one. I've been doing it for 25 years.
That's right.
It's time to pass it on to somebody else.
All right, before we get out of here, I want to shout out a few people, you know, because I thank you so much for coming and staying. Miss Mary, thank you, Sam, again. Linda Horner, Charity, Tigger, Phil C, Done Playing Around, Linda Carter, 12B Georgia, Black Matter, Liberty Smith, Armed American Patriot, American Mindbender, my dear friend from up in North Georgia. Let's see, get on back here. Most of the people they'll come in and go, but yep, those are the people who came and stayed, and I want to thank you for that, Miss Mary and Patricia. Thank you for being here. It's been great having y'all, and we do appreciate y'all coming and spending some time with us when we do this. So Friday night, 7:30, John and I will be back. We may be alone, we may not. You never know.
I may be reading up a Rolodex. We'll see what happens.
Just write it on toilet paper.
Absolutely. Oh, no, that's too expensive. It's cheap to find another
you're right.
computer these days.
I know it. All right, people. We love
right,
you. Thank
everybody.
you for coming. We're going to get out of here. We're going to let y'all go do something else tonight. And we'll see y'all Friday night at 7:30. And we probably will have people and join us. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking maybe we'll have people from the chat pop in. And we'll talk to several different people if you're willing to come on with us.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about that Friday.
Yeah.
So everybody.
And real quick, Bobby, 1 second.
Yes.
Again, guys, if there's anybody out there that needs seeds, please let me know. Or let Bobby know, and then he'll get a hold of me.
Yeah. If you need seeds,
I can still get them. If there's anybody that can't get seeds. Seriously.
Hey, Jane, thank you for being here, Jane. Thank you so much. And I enjoyed our conversation the other day on the phone. It was really good. All right, Philip Turner, we're getting out of here. God love you, and God take care of all of us till we see you next time. Friday at 7:30 p.m. God bless. Good night.